ride there. About to go out of bounds.
Right before we watched Tex Johnson get that triangle choke on Ishii, the thing that I was getting ready to say, Robert, is the only downside of the grappling experience that Ishii has is that it is not overly submission oriented in the same way that you'll see something like submission grappling. Triangle chokes, those sorts of things. Probably not something that he spent a ton of time with. I'm sure he's fairly familiar with.
Yeah.
But
well, he's been training, let's call it, grappling, like not Olympic judo for at least a few years now. Because I remember training at my gym maybe 6-7 years ago. He was already training. So I think he has the experience. But it's difficult to move away from your A game. And he's just always going to be a judoka at heart. But you can see him moving on top more like a BJJ fighter would, staying out of close guard, knowing how to pass pass someone's open guard. It's just like he had his hands full against Tex Johnson, which is one of the up-and-coming ultra heavyweights, one of the best competitors in the world today, I would say. It was just bad matchup for Ichi, I guess, because I don't think he got expected to get triangle. I don't think that happens very often in practice. I can't think of many people able to triangle him.
I mean, we were talking about genetics and biology. I mean, we can even talk about geometry, but you look at somebody like Ishii, and he doesn't seem like a prime candidate if somebody I'm going to try a lot of triangles out on.
No, I got pretty long legs. I would have looked at him and gone, I don't know if I can try. I don't think I can triangle that guy. Tex Johnson did it.
Sometimes having those big, thick legs actually kind of helps with that, right?
Well, like a body triangle, it's the same thing. If you can actually lock it, which is extremely difficult, right, then you have a really tight wrap.
And Gordan Ryan really just kind of putting a clinic on this gentleman here on the bottom.
Mumsies. I might be murdering his surname, but...
I grew up in Missouri, and so I do my very best to not try. Sometimes it's been the number one critique I've gotten from the fans, who can be brutal.
I know.
I'm trying my best, guys. That's what I always say. Gordan Ryan backed him out once again here.
I've had my surname butchered in Brazil my whole life. Believe me. I don't think I've ever heard a Brazilian pronounce it correctly. So, you get used to it.
Gordan Ryan now with a 28-point lead here. We talked about Ryan just a little bit earlier today when we were talking about the absolute division and, stepping out of his comfort zone in terms of rule sets as he puts a 30-plus lead on Mumsies here, and he's maybe working on a Kimura or something along those lines. But it's really interesting to see him develop over time. I mean, he's really had a meteoric rise here in Jiu-Jitsu, and he's still, when you think about the amount of time that a lot of black belts have in the sport, he's still fairly, new to Jiu-Jitsu.
He's very talented. There's no doubt he's very talented. I remember, I think the first time I saw him compete was at ACC Trials maybe 3-4 years ago. Maybe longer than that. He's competing against one of my students, and you could see he was a talented up-and-coming guy, but he really rise up the higher ranks of jiu-jitsu fairly quickly, and props to God. But this open division is going to be fireworks, man. I can't wait. I have Gordan as a favorite, but not by a lot, man. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. It could be a newcomer. It could be just about anyone winning that division. You've got so many good guys in it. Yeah, Gordan having a hard time putting his opponent away, though.
Yeah, he is. That's actually something I was getting ready to comment on.
I think at this point, I don't think he's looking to score points. He really is trying to submit. He's just unable to. And his opponent's basically going, nah, I'm not going to give it to you. You can score those points. I'm not getting subbed.
And, that is one of the critiques of, the kind of submission-only style a little bit, Robert, is that, opponents will realize fairly quickly if someone is a lot better than them, and they'll sort of do what we're seeing now, which is shelling up.
It's an old thing. If I didn't lose, or then I get tapped, I didn't lose. Well, yeah, you did. It's a martial art. If this were a fight, you would have had your head, beaten in. Like, you have to fight. Position is important. That's my whole point. I love the approach that submission is a priority. Everyone likes the submission, but it's a martial art, and positioning is important. Watch the UFC. Like, we probably see more TKOs than we do submissions these days in the UFC. So that says something about being able to hit someone on the ground, and positioning plays a role there. Like, you can't just be in a horrible spot and hit someone on the ground. I like the martial art approach to jiu-jitsu, where you're actually teaching someone how to fight, not just to submit people. In fact, in some real situations, the submission might be a horrible idea. You're at a bar, getting in a fight, armbarring someone. That might be a horrible idea. Triangling someone. It sounds like a great idea, but that might be the worst thing you can do in a fight. So I'm not sold on the whole. It's all about the submission. I think it's a kind of like a romantic approach to reality, but it's not. I think, ironically, I never thought I would say this. IBJJF rules are a lot closer to a real fight or MMA than submission only is.
And Gordan Ryan, I think you're going to see a headline on Flow Grappling either on the social media account or in an article at some point where it reads Gordan Ryan hangs 50 points on opponent, because we're just about there now.
That's I won't say it's a record, but he's getting close to it, man.
I've seen Leandro Lowe put plus 50 on. I think I've seen Leandro Lowe put 53 on someone before.
I know Hoyler Gracie back in the day did like 60-something on someone, or maybe close to 70.
And now Gordon's going to get the armbar, so we're never going to get that.
All right, at that point, Gordan was better off just breaking the record and try to like not submit, but see what, I know I take that back. I was being ironic. I was joking. Like that's disrespect. You have to. I say you have to submit your opponent.